So I was like, okay, let me look into it. You know, I think I watched the YouTube video that he dropped on it, and it just made sense. And I was like, you know what, the previous course was good. I saw how much value was going to be in that course for the price that it was at. I just felt like, being able to have access to a tenable license, an account, the cloud as well, like being able to create a VM and being able to do threat hunting, vulnerability management, like so much more. And I know there's other courses that are on their way. So I was like, you know what, let me go for it. It's an investment in myself and in my career, and it just makes sense. That's why it was a no-brainer for me.
Hi everyone, my name is Zija. I help run the Cyber range and support our members. As our community has been growing, we have been focused more on members highlighting their success stories. Josh used to host these conversations, and now I'll be taking the lead so we can bring you even more of their inspiring journeys. So today I have Marlon here, who is a member of Cyber Range, and he recently landed a role as a junior cybersecurity analyst. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Yeah. Congrats on your new offers and with your new titles. And for people meeting you for the first time, would you mind giving us a brief introduction about yourself and what were you doing before entering the cybersecurity?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Marlon. I'm 30 years old, and my background is not in cyber at all. Like initially, I was working in finance. That's what I went to school for. And by the way, I'm here in Montreal in Canada, so it might be a bit different from most people that might be from the US. But in my case, I live in Canada. Initially from France. I came to Canada for school, and like I said, I came here for school and in finance. And I worked in finance for about 6 years. But while I was working in finance, I realized that I just wanted to make a transition. So I would say that was about 2022. That's when I decided, I want to switch to. Initially, I didn't know, but I was thinking maybe cloud or cyber. But I just knew I wanted to switch to IT. And then as I did more research, I started looking into cyber, and that's when I really started looking into it, and I fell in love with it. So I thought, okay, that's what I want to do. And so 3 years later, here I am. So it's been a long journey, but well worth it.
That's great. How do you overall enjoy a new job? And will you mind, if you feel comfortable, will you mind sharing your salary range for this new position? Just the range.
Yeah. So I mean, in terms of the job, I just started this week, so it's
brand new.
Yeah, brand new, but so far so good. I mean, I love it. It's exactly like what I was looking for in terms of what we're doing, the team, and how we're gonna grow. Salary range wise, I mean, I don't mind sharing, but between the 70 to 80 range, so around there. That's so.
Sorry,
sorry,
it was literally cutting off. Sorry.
Yeah, no, salary wise, between 70 and 80,000 around there.
Yeah, nice. I'm so curious because I also came from finance and background for my bachelor undergrad. So, what do you like? You spend years like in banking and finance, right? And what makes you decide that you want to pivot into cybersecurity? Like, what's the first idea click?
It's a good question. To be honest, at first I didn't know I wanted to do cyber. It was more I knew I didn't want to do finance anymore.
Okay.
So then it was more a question of, okay, well, what can I do? What career can give me the opportunity to have growth overall, like over time, where I can always learn something, and something that obviously that makes money.
Yes.
That's a huge component of it. Is salary wise, like, okay, thinking there's an opportunity to make more, and to also grow into the what I'm doing, the responsibilities, and just being able to have a lot of options, right? And as I was looking into it, I felt like IT and cybersecurity in particular is something that was interesting because the term cybersecurity is very vague, but there's so much you can do, right? You can be the technical guy, you can be the non-technical guy. You do have to have a decent technical background, but I feel like there's so many things you can do, and also I do feel like anyone from any type of industry can transition and find their lane in cyber. Like we see a lot of lawyers that go into GRC, for example. So I just felt like that's it's something that was interesting, and also I mean there's always going to be new attacks, new cyber criminals and stuff. So there's always going to be systems to protect, and I just felt like that was really interesting. So
yeah.
towards that.
Yes, I totally agree with you. Like the whole cybersecurity, just like for me, it's like a Disneyland. There's so many roller coaster inside. Like you decided which one to ride, right? It's like everybody can have their background is always like add on, like on top of that. Then you can
Definitely.
pivot into cybersecurity, like, and you can even like jump from different domains like to explore. So it's like it's like actual like a threat hunt in this like real scenario, but you are the gamer, right? You are the one to play this game. So yeah, I totally agree with you.
That's it. That's it.
So also you mentioned that it took like 3 years to break into the cybersecurity. Is that like really like what was the hardest moment during the transactions? And do you utilize any of those resource and community or anything that you had to
Mhm.
break into that?
Yeah, I honestly I feel like there when you want to break into cybersecurity, and
Yes.
that's going to depend person to person, but I feel like there's two steps that are the toughest. First one being getting that first IT position. So whether it's from your previous industry to then IT, like getting that first role is I think is one of the toughest things, right? Because once you're in, then there's a lot of like tasks and just things you'll
Building
do
up. Mm-hmm.
that you can then use to say, hey, I've done some cybersecurity tasks. Like let's say you work in help desk, you can say, if you're managing users and creating users, like you have IM skills, right?
Yes.
Things like that. So you can spin that into a cyber experience. So I would say that's the first, like the toughest part, and then the second part is obviously getting that first cyber experience. That's like, yeah, I do feel like that's gonna be it's gonna be challenging, but it is definitely possible. In my case, I would say what was the toughest was I would say probably getting that first role, because so that's something I mentioned in the post that I had made. But
Yeah.
when I first started, I had done his previous course. So Josh had the what's it called, the HoneyNet course.
Yes.
So I did that. I did the internship and all that, and I applied for a position as an IT technician.
Mhm.
It's a cool company. And then I was supposed to start on a Monday, and on a Friday they rescinded the offer. So that was really tough because I had already quit my my previous job. So
Yes.
I ended up being unemployed for 5 months, and during those 5 months, I just remember it was tough to find a new job because I was very early in my career. I didn't have any IT experience besides the projects. So
Mhm.
to trust you based on the projects you've done. If you don't have any corporate IT experience, sometimes it can be tough. But thankfully, a company was able to give me a chance around 5 months later. So that was September 2024, and worked there for about 9 months. And then I was able to land an internship because I started my master's in cybersecurity back in this year in January.
Yeah.
So through that, I was able to get an internship at a large Canadian bank. But getting that full-time offer was the toughest. Right. So it was really just staying focused, trying to stay motivated and just keep applying. LinkedIn. I was using LinkedIn a lot, and
LinkedIn.
yeah, that's it. And I think I would say the toughest was I was able to land interviews, but I had a hard time getting to the technical interview. It was always I would get to I would talk to the recruiter, talk to HR, and they'll tell me, oh, you have a really nice resume, a really impressive resume, but we're looking for with someone with a bit more experience. And I was always hearing that, right? So it was tough. Definitely just had to keep pushing, but that's where the cyber range came in. It gave me a lot of like just hands-on skills, things that I could talk about in interview, things that I've done, even if I haven't done it like in a corporate setting, just being aware of the tools and what we're doing and what we're using, like it made a huge difference. So once I was able to get to a technical interview, which is the one I did with my current position, then I was able to articulate my answers, and that's all thanks to Josh and the cyber range in general. I mean, it's
Thank
great.
you. So, do you have to showcase like the any like technical skills during your interview and projects?
So I didn't have to like show my portfolio, but I did talk about it. But it was more like they'll ask you questions about like how would you handle this, how would you handle that, and then just being able to articulate things like the instant response life cycle. I think that's really important. Depending on the situation, being able to say how you would go about doing things. it's that's going to serve you in any interview, right? So not just
Yes.
mine, but anything, because it's good to have the knowledge, but you have to be able to show your thinking, and it's okay to not know everything. I don't think anyone is expecting you to be an expert, but I do have to have get an idea of how to articulate your answer, and also how would you explain that to someone that's maybe less technical, right? So
Yes. So does it mean it's useful if you practice with like a behavior questions, like how these like walk through like the steps with the recruiter, and if they come from like a non-technical background, are they able to understand, right, as a technician guy? So something like that.
that's true. I feel like it is when you talk to a recruiter, it is a bit easier because you're not going to go into too much detail. I do think that it's when you talk to the hiring manager, that's when you have to be a lot sharper, and like knowing what you're talking about, because at the end of the day, like HR, they don't have all the technical knowledge, so they might find your resume interesting, or they might say, oh, I think this guy could be good, but at the end of the day, it's the hiring manager that you have to convince to give you a chance. So that's where I say being able to adapt who you're talking to and what you say is important, because you really shouldn't go into like an interview with a recruiter and go into all these crazy terms. They're gonna be lost, and
Yes.
and the interview might not go as well. So just
Yeah.
keep it simple. Just kind of showcase what you've done, but if you get to the technical interview, that's when you want to showcase like what you've done, like, on a deeper level.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the advice. So, I was looking at record. You are the first couple people early when you joined the Cyber Range when we first like launched early this year.
Yeah.
And you also like tell me that you were like under a lot of stress, right? With like the 5 months unemployed, and when you also doing the master for cybersecurity, like what makes you still like put in the faith and trust to join the Cyber Range, and trying to get some experience from that.
Well, to be honest, I'm a long time supporter of Josh. I think I found him around maybe early 2023, late 2022, and when that's kind of around the time when I really started to think about like joining cybersecurity, and I just found his videos very useful. And there's just something genuine about him. Like he doesn't try to sell you something. He'll like showcase something, and then it's like you tend to want to work with people like that, because you can tell they're here to help you, and also obviously he has a lot of experience, a lot of like just stories that he can share of different jobs that he's done. So I was just drawn to his content, and so when I did the Honeynet course, and you build your own SOC, like I felt it was so useful, and just I mean, in every interview that I would do, like it served me well. Like the hiring managers were really impressed. So once the cyber range dropped, I remember I think he was reaching out to all their previous members, and he said, "Hey, I'm dropping the cyber range and stuff." So initially, I remember he said the price might rise, so if you're interested, maybe join now. So I was like, okay, let me look into it. I think I watched the YouTube video that he dropped on it, and it just made sense. And I was like, you know what, the previous course was good. I saw how much value was going to be in that course for the price that it was at. I just felt like if the price is going to go up, I need to hop on now. I don't want to be on that, because like being able to have access to a tenable license, an account, the cloud as well, like being able to create a VM, and being able to do threat hunting, vulnerability management, like so much more. And I know there's other courses that are on their way. So I was like, you know what, let me go for it. It's an investment in myself and in my career, and it just made sense. That's why it was a no-brainer for me.
That's great. Like you mentioned the threat hunt, and you also mentioned you did one of them. Like, how was the experience? Like, we plan to have that weekly get launch in the Cyber Range. So
It was great. It was great. I really wish I could have done more, but I'm right now I'm going back to do like the previous ones. But it was a great experience, because when you start, you really don't know. I mean, I've done the threat hunting scenarios, but there's a difference between like doing it, and you're the one that's actually doing the attack, right? And then you're just looking for the logs. It's different when you do that than when there's an actual, like, well, obviously a simulated attack that you haven't done, so you don't really know what to look for. And even if they give you hints, like you really have to go in and like
the detail.
exactly. And I loved it. I loved it. It was fun. It was challenging. I remember, I think it was due the next, like the Saturday and the Friday night. I sat down on my desk and said, okay, let me try to figure this out. I was up until like 2 a.m. and I was stuck. I had to look for like a specific IP address. I couldn't find it. So I said, okay, let me go to sleep. I woke up the next day, came back, and it just clicked, and I found it, and I was so happy. It's like those moments that are super rewarding, and it just translates to anything. Like even in your day-to-day job, like when you're looking for something and you figure it out, it's very rewarding. And that's how I know that I'm in the right field, because I just like that feeling of accomplishment and being like, okay, I figured this out. I have that in cybersecurity, and I didn't feel like I had that as much when I was in my previous job. So it's amazing.
I feel so happy for you that you find the like the gut feeling, right? Like, oh, the dopamine hitting you. Yes, this is what I want to do, and I'm in the right, like the correct path. So yeah, great
Yeah.
energy. Thank you. So also, when you mentioned that, do you went through all the courses? Like, do you find like what is the most like challenging one, like going through all the courses, or was it the course was like really easy to understand, or is the structure right?
You mean the cyber range in
Yeah.
particular?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was. I mean, and once again, I'm used to his style of teaching from the previous course, so I feel like he did a great job here. Really easy to follow, and it's personally, I love this type of content. I'm more into the, hey, let's do it together. It's a walkthrough. Technical content. That's my thing. I don't really like the more theoretical stuff where you're just like listening and taking notes. When I do the course, like I'm obviously I have my monitors here, so I have the course playing. I'm doing it on my side, and then I have my third screen where I'm taking notes. Like I really create documentation for myself, and it helps me so much because once I've done the course once, then I can go back and not necessarily look at the video, or maybe look at it to reference some things, but I just look at what I've written, and I try to reference that for redoing the steps, and it really helps. So for anyone that's looking to do the course, I think the best thing you can do is do the hard things first. So if it's going to take you longer to go through the course initially, because if you're taking notes, it's you have to pause the video.
Yeah.
So, and the videos are long, right?
Yeah.
So it will take you several hours. But like if you do that once, then when you go back to it, then you're going to be able to just kind of run through it a bit quicker, and also just doing it several times. Just doing the scenarios times is very important as well, just to get that intuition, just to get used to it, and then even just running the KQL queries. Just you build all of that, like just you become a lot smoother from repetition. That's the main thing.
Yeah, like the being able to practice like multiple times, and when you actually having the actual interview, sitting, a person in front of you, that you are able to actually talk smoothly, because your brain doesn't have to be thinking about that, because that was just your muscle memory, and you can
Yeah.
really focus on enjoying the interview and enjoy the conversation and articulate yourself at the moment.
Absolutely, and that's something that Josh has said as well. Like when you get to an interview, your brain tends to just turn off. You get there, and all of a sudden you're stuttering. You can't articulate yourself. So being able to, like, what if you've done the work, it's easier to reference those things, because I think people can tell right away if you're like BSing a little bit. If you've done it once, kind of half did it. You don't really know what you're talking about. It's gonna people will tell. So, and I mean, and it's just a disservice to yourself, right? Like if you get to the interview, like you get that far, you might as well give yourself a chance and actually do the work so that you don't miss out on a great opportunity because you didn't prepare enough. That's the main thing that for me would have been frustrating, is like I finally get to that point where I get to a technical interview and I don't get the position because I didn't prepare. It's I would really beat myself up. So confidence comes from preparation. I do believe that. So make sure you do the work, and then when the opportunity presents itself, you can actually go for it. And I also think that we create our own luck. So sometimes something falls in your lap and you're like, wow, this is out of nowhere. But it's just, if you've done the work, it just tends to happen like that. I don't know. And it usually comes in waves. Sometimes there's months where there's nothing, and then all of a sudden you have several opportunities at once. So just go with it. Just keep doing the work, and everything else.
Yeah, it reminds me of those index funds. Like sometimes they're really low, but you don't know when you're gonna hit the the jackpot. You have
Exactly.
like multiple offers that you don't even know which one to choose because you've been spent so many hours and times to prepare for the job.
That's it.
Yeah, and since you just mentioned that you have been working for this new job for about a week each now, so is there anything you feel like, oh, I wish I can actually also learn that inside my range, the better way, to prepare for this new job or any other jobs or interview that you
So
wish that you can get that from cyber range?
good question. Good question. Honestly, I mean, one thing that obviously that we see at a lot of jobs is the email security. I think it's a big thing. So, and I think they've talked about maybe having that at some point. So I think that'd be very interesting to add that, like phishing simulations, things like that. And then, well, to be honest, like in this position, I'll be able to like really work on different things. So it's nice. It's very nice. I don't think there's anything in particular, but I do like the fact that there's the AI course.
Yes, they launched it.
That's something I want to do. Also, there's the security engineering course. I think that's really good. Um, maybe I am as well. Like that. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. I know that's something they've talked about as well. So yeah, I would say those things.
Okay, yeah, we're in the production trying to make those products as well. So thank you. And you mentioned that you do you use LinkedIn to find your current job,
Yeah.
and will you mind go through your job searching
Mm.
process, like what kind of platform you use and how many people you reach, and how do you make it more easier or from more experience perspective?
So yeah, I'm a big LinkedIn guy. To be honest, I don't really use Indeed. It really depends on where you live. Some people are lucky with Indeed. I just never been lucky with Indeed. For some reason, there's always like um, either ghost jobs or just I never
Yes.
get hear back. But LinkedIn, yeah, it works. And so my I guess my strategy has been like optimizing my LinkedIn. So having a nice profile picture, a header, all that stuff, everything filled out, and then posting from time to time. So whenever I finish a project, like I post it on there, having my GitHub link, all that stuff. Like just before anything, make sure you optimize your profile. And then when I apply, so usually, let's see, so a couple of strategies that I would do. So obviously, try to make at least do 5 to 10 resumes a day if I can. Just send them out. The easy apply, it's like hit or miss for me. Like I feel like I've had more luck with sometimes there's a job on LinkedIn, but then you have to go to the company website. Applying directly on the website for some reason tends to work better for me than the easy apply. A lot of times I feel like I get more rejections from the easy apply. And maybe it's just maybe the way the resume is made or something on LinkedIn. It could be different. So maybe some sections are being missed, but I mean you can use it if you want to. What else? And then for me, it was trying to apply in the morning and also
Morning, okay.
I mean all throughout the day, but in the morning especially, and then try to look for positions that were posted less than obviously 24 hours ago. But what I would do is I don't know if people are aware of this, but if you let's say you put the filter of like 24 hours, well in the URL there's like there's I think there's the number 86,400, which is the number of seconds in a day. So you can, if you look for that number, you can change that to the
Ooh.
hour, right? So I think it's 36,000. Oh, sorry, 3,600. And now all of a sudden you have the job that I've been posted like an hour ago. So because I feel like posting, like being first, usually helps.
Yes.
So if something was just posted, apply as soon as you can. It helps because you never know. Like you could have maybe a company might post a job and then be like, you know what, we got 10 resumes, take it off. We'll just look within these 10, and then right, just because you were first, like you get a chance to maybe get an interview. So yeah, I would do those things.
This is such a awesome tips. I don't know. Wow.
Yeah, I found
Wow,
that on
so cool. Funny TikTok. Okay.
TikTok.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. All this, yeah. Great hack.
thank you.
Um, And thank you for sharing that. And this will come to my last questions. It's like, in our communities, there's so many people come from different backgrounds, different industrials, and we're still trying really hard to break into, the cybersecurity or IT field. Like from your own journey and experience, can you give us some like couple advice and how do you do that?
Yeah, to be honest, first thing is definitely just like keep a positive attitude, because the thing is you don't know how long this will take. You just don't know, right? You could get lucky and maybe in a couple months you transition to cybersecurity. But I do feel like to do that you have to do a lot of work. But this could take several years. But it's really just keeping your positive attitude. It is possible. Keep doing the work. Keep doing the work. That's the most important. And sometimes I've been there where there's maybe some weeks or months where I wasn't as productive. I didn't do as much, but it's all about just showing up and like picking yourself back up when you get in that phase when you're not as as motivated, right? Really try to stay disciplined. Take care of yourself for sure. Mental health, everything, physical health as well. But take care of yourself so that you can actually do the work. And yeah, just network as much as you can, because you never know. Sometimes you could meet someone that knows someone that helps as well. So very important. And I would say, I mean, just something like once you get to interviews, make sure to smile. Like that's so important. I feel like there's a lot of interviews where I maybe went a bit further than I maybe should have or thought I would, because of my attitude. Just being very bubbly and all that. It really really helps. So yeah, keep a positive attitude, keep a smile on your face, and eventually it's gonna happen. But that's more like the fluff answer. But in terms of doing the work, for me, I would say initially I did a lot of stuff, not really knowing like what I should do. So I would just try different things and see what sticks. Try to have like a more like really try to make yourself like a roadmap and try to stick to it. If you want to be a SOC analyst, okay, what do I need to do to become a SOC analyst? Like
Yes.
try not to I guess to get off road too much, because that's just time wasted, if you will.
Yeah.
So figure out what certifications you want to do those, and obviously sometimes you might change. Your mind might change. You might say, you know what, I want to maybe transition to this instead of being a SOC analyst. But like try to make a roadmap for yourself and stick to it. It's going to help you, and you will like save a lot of time, because to me that's the main thing. I think anyone that gets into cyber, eventually they'll say, man, I wish I would have done this earlier. I wish I wouldn't have done this, because I could have maybe gotten in earlier, right? So just try to stick to what you need to do, and then in the end you can kind of you can refocus, and you can maybe change which way you go or what you decide to do. Like it's okay to realize that maybe I'm not the most technical, so maybe I can look into GRC. But just make sure you stick to one thing. Okay? It's really important.
Yeah, thank you, Marlon. Because what you're talking, what you're saying, really reminds me like another member. He mentioned that like we all know cybersecurity is really broad, right? I mean, if you even have a little, if you know the CISSP, they have like 8 domains, right? So it's really if you just into this door, it's like wow, it's like for me, it's like wonderland. There's so many things to look, so many
Right.
things to try on. I want to try this, I want to try that, but there's time's crunching, and probably you want to pick like 3 area that you kind of feel like, oh, I'm interested in this three, instead of like try all of them. So
Yeah.
for really focus on your energy and your time in maybe 2 or 3 area that you customize your resume, only focus on these three, and just try your best to get your first like get your step into the door. And once
Exactly.
from there, then you can start your game mode, like you can play around and then
Yeah.
like transaction in different roles. That's how I feel.
Yeah, and thank you for mentioning that. I wanted to say it as well. Like, don't be scared to maybe take a salary cut for
Yes.
just temporarily, right? But I think the most important is just getting in. So if it has to be help desk, just do help desk. Just a couple months, 6 to 9 months. I think it's enough to touch a couple systems and do a little, enough to then maybe transition to something like a sysadmin role or like a network admin role, something like that, right?
Yes.
Because I feel like cyber, as we say, cyber is more of a mid-level career. And I think a lot of people who come from different backgrounds, they aim for cyber right away, and they don't realize that there's a lot of like ramp up that you have to do before you get there. And some people do it. I'm not saying it's impossible, right? Like, some people do it and it's great, but I think it's with the job market how it is right now. Just be aware of that and know that there's different ways to get in. Could take longer, but the thing is, if you're working help desk for a year, right, then you become a sysadmin. Like, you're getting tech experience, and if eventually you want to go for the CISSP, for example, you're still accumulating years of experience that you can then use, because I think you need 5 years or 4 if you have the security plus. But yeah, so like, doesn't mean that there's time wasted. You're making money, right, and you're learning. It's like paid training, right? To then, once it's the cyber role, like, okay, I got a lot of knowledge. There's a lot of stuff that I can do, and that can come from anywhere. Like, if there's anything that can be spun into cyber experience if you know your stuff enough.
Just don't feel discouraged, like you don't actually graduate from IT and have a master, because everybody take time and steps and their own pace to get into which field they want to be, and all the experience and all the people you meet and all the job experience you had even since your maybe high school, right? This is all your compound experience that help you to be who you are today.
Absolutely. And like you said, the finance background that I have, I feel like it's still helped me in my interviews, because it just gives you a better, like, a broader I guess mindset. Because it's very easy to be technical, but then if you don't have everything else, maybe you might get looked over, and then someone else might come in and they have this skill, but they have like the people skills, they have some transferable skills, and then the rest can be learned on the job. They might get the job. So I would say that. And then also, so I don't have a lot of certifications. Like, the only certification that I've done is AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner, and I haven't used it. So, okay, I'm not going to say you don't need certifications. I think you do, but just know what people rank as what's important. So experience is going to come first, and then projects. I think, like, a really good portfolio, I think, could beat a certification. But then if we're talking HR, I think HR is going to prioritize a certification, right? So that's why I think it's best to have all of it. As you go, just get some certifications, build your portfolio, get some experience, and that's just how you become a better character, right?
Yeah, a better candidate.
Yeah, it's like a game, and your stats, like Josh says. So so just keep working on your stats, and then you become that superhero, and then you're able to get a position, right? That's what we want to do. So I don't think, I think a lot of times on social media you see the debates of, like, degree versus certs. Like, why is this even a debate? Why not go for both if you can?
Why not have both?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, like, degrees, certifications, projects, and then experience. Like, get all of it.
Yes, we only live once. We should just experience everything if we can, right?
That's it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Marlon. Thank you so much today for joining us, and I think you share so many your personal experience and insights, and then also the job, like the linking hack. That one I have to also like look it up. That was really useful. Thank you so much for having us, and I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. Like I said, it's a true honor. It's I don't know. It's cool because I've been, like I said, I've been a supporter of the Cyber Range, and to be able to share my experience now, I don't know, I didn't think this would happen, so it's really cool.
Yeah, and hope you best luck for your new job, and then see you around in the Cyber Range.
Sounds good.
Don't forget for your next threat hunt.
Yeah, I have to submit mine today, actually.
Okay, yeah. Bye. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
So no pressure, obviously, but if you're serious about getting into cybersecurity, or you just want real non-sandbox hands-on experience with actual enterprise tools in a live shared network, you can get all of that in the Cyber Range. In the past year, we've done about 100 employment verifications. That is like real employers reaching out to us to confirm experience for people in the community that have actually landed jobs. When you onboard into the community, you'll get issued credentials for access to our company's actual network, which is a real live corporate environment with over 1,200 users and fully licensed enterprise security stack with platforms like Tenable Vulnerability Management, Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, and Microsoft Sentinel. And just like at a real security job, we'll provide training covering everything that you'll encounter, from enterprise vulnerability management to threat hunting to general security operations as well. And you'll get experience and training better than if you were hired as a corporate junior SOC analyst. Every week, we also have a cybersecurity threat hunt and capture the flag challenge where you can compete for cash prizes while building legit resume experience at the same time. And this isn't a simulation, it's like real infrastructure with real users, real attacks, and organic logs that you'll have hands-on access to. So if you're interested, check out the link in the description and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.